we'll do a lot of, like strength training as far as in the weight room, stuff like that. The first couple of weeks we do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, that kind of stuff, chin-ups. Most of it's running the first couple of weeks, and then once we feel everybody can kind of stick together and is in good enough shape to go on the fires, then we kind of break up into squads and do base days, we call them, where one squad goes outside and runs, or hikes, or bikes, or whatever they want to do. The other squad goes inside, works out in the weight room, and then they flip-flop. So, once we get to that point, it's way better than doing crew run.
It's like you're on a track team when you first get there. And then you gotta mention these guys, we're in the weight room all winter long. So these 20-year-old guys or 18-year-old guys that just graduated high school, I mean, hopefully they can keep up with JJ or somebody like that. So those are baselines, but when you get there, it's a different story. Baseline.
We're all getting older, and they're staying the same age. So we have to work twice as hard. Yes, ma'am.
Does this, all this PT stuff count for your 40 hours a week?
Yes, we do it at work, and we do get paid for it. So if we go into work and we PT for an hour, then we're doing it at work. So from 8 to 9, for instance, we'll be PT. And after that, we go into training. Or we go out in the field and cut trees, or get an order and we jump in the trucks and go wherever to a fire. But that PT time is on the clock.
When you do prescribed fires, do they count for your 40 hours a week of camaraderie that you talked about quite a while
Oh,
ago?
our initial 40 hours of critical training, that's kind of different. We have to have a minimum of 40 hours as a crew to be in the classroom to have our refreshers and all that stuff. After that, we like to get another 40 hours on top of that, so we like to stay in the classroom for 80 hours. But after the 40, we can actually be available to go on assignment. But, so say we had a fire to do in the quads, a prescribed fire. So we do our 40 hours of critical training right off the bat, get everybody qualified and pack tested and all that stuff. And then that second week, we could go out into the field and do a prescribed fire. And it can be counted as training because you're out there getting everybody in line and teaching them how to use tools and teaching them firing techniques and all that kind of stuff. But it's not really what we're looking at as training. Does that make sense? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, well, originally you said that in order to be a hotshot crew and to be called up, you had to have 40 hours of some kind of training.
Right. That's
together.
just saying that the
So
crew,
that's the first thing you do, is sit down and get your
right, we
40
have critical
hours.
training, but that's just, there's a type 2 IA crews, which could probably be a hotshot crew, because they have the experience, they have the qualifications, but they pull people from different districts, and different forests even, and create a crew to go to a fire. Even though they have the qualifications and the experience and all the other stuff, they don't work and train together for 40 hours a week. So that doesn't really make them a hotshot crew. You know what I mean?
They're a fire crew instead of a hotshot crew.
Well, they're a type 2 IA crew, we're a type 1 crew. So there's different typing of crews, depending on, yeah.
You've already gone through 5s and 4s and 2s and 1s. Quite a bit.
I don't know, Rich, I mean,
Well,
do you
the
have something?
main thing about the working 40 hours together throughout the whole fire season is that you have a much better idea, like Bo was saying, for the other crews, you're pulling folks from different places that don't work together every day. With these guys, with them working, with everybody working together, it becomes so much, you know exactly what people are going to do when you're out there on the fire. They know exactly what to do. you know what, like, Bo knows what JJ is capable of and can do it, whereas when you're pulling all the folks in, sometimes they're not the same folks. Does that make sense? So you have a much better working relationship and you can get things done much quicker because you know exactly everybody's capabilities. And it's almost like second nature. You get to the point where you're not even talking with the guys because you know what they're gonna do. So that's, does that make sense? Yes?
Like a sports team.
I don't know if I'm asking you to answer
Right,
your question.
for instance, you had a sports
Yeah,
team that
that's
practiced all
enough.
year. Oh, you get,
Okay,
I'm just saying, if you had a sports team that practiced all year together, you know, and then you brought in a sports team that just met each other, you're gonna have the two different levels of the team. So that's basically what that standard is for. Cause they want hot shot crews to have that cohesive, working environment, that they know each other and can work together instead of having, you know, 5 guys come from this district, 5 guys from this district, and then they make a crew. They still have the same qualifications or whatever that we might have, but they don't work together. So that makes them different as far as their status. Anything, any other question? Still?
I'm fine.
Okay, alright,
That's
okay, good,
good. That's,
we're good.
Now we're picturing.
move on.
Alright, so here's some pictures that we just threw in, just kind of examples of what we do, and that's, we're just trying to give you guys information, tell you guys what we do. We don't get seen out in the field much. The pictures you see on the television aren't typically hot shot crews, and we're not next to the road, you know, in clean yellows, and that's not a hot shot crew. So these pictures are like what we actually do. So if you have questions, I'll kind of describe what's in the picture, and I'm here for questions, I guess, in this type of scenario. So here we're doing some urban interface. So I think this is a, sorry, just Guinness, up in the Pecos. And we're just getting pulled in there. We're getting ready to go scout out all these buildings, see what we have. Urban interface is becoming a big part of our job. When I first started, we would go to fires with urban interface involved maybe, you know, a couple times a year, and now it's almost every fire we go to has some sort of urban interface. So we're protecting structures of some sort of infrastructure. There's a picture of us on the line. We just threw some stuff in there.
That was actually a burn on the Tres Lagunas fire outside of, like, to the east of Belen a few years ago. And we had just, I think we actually
The
just passed it
Trigo.
off.
The
The
Trigo.
Trigo, Tres Lagunas. But yeah, there's the Trigo fire.
JJ remembers all the details.
Oh, it's horseshoe too.
Horseshoe 2 fire, we're doing a burnout here.
You
Any
burn every
questions?
day.
Yeah. Okay, next slide. Anybody see one of these flying? So this is what you see on the news a lot. It's a heavy hell tanker, it's a sky crane, it's a Porsche. They carry retardant water, generally, you know, around 1,000 gallons. They can split their loads. They're really, really effective in the field. We love to see these guys flying. It's probably I think they're around $20 million ship, and it's around $6,000 an hour for them to fly.
So who are they? They're not hot shots?
No, they're contract.
Contract
They're
fires.
contracted.
By the government or the
Yes, ma'am.
federal?
Yes, they're on a federal contract, calling needed usually. Don't ask me too much about contract. Okay, next. Here's one of our new crew carriers, and we're Okay, so this is, I think, the East Basin Fire. It was in California. That's just what we walk into, say your first day at work. They give you this. That's what we see. Usually a division supervisor or someone like that is going, well, what do you think? What do you want to do? So, that's our office. Okay, so this is a mobile kitchen caterer. They're under a federal contract as well. And they come to our fire camps. It's basically an 18-wheeler tractor trailer converted to a kitchen. This is how we get most of our meals if we're at fire camp. Except those lines are way long. Another picture of things we have to deal with out in the field. I think this is a Pacheco fire, which was up by Las Vegas. Or Santa Fe, excuse me.
When you go into an area, particularly like when you fly in and you're in, vans and things you're not familiar with, but anytime, do they assign a local person to you so that you know where you're going and things, or you just,
It really
Going
depends
on
on the
GPS.
situation. Sometimes they will. California will assign you a person like that a lot because it's just so complicated and there's so many resources and it's hard to get around. But generally, they just give us directions or a map or whatever and say, okay, this is where you're going. See you in an hour. So it really depends on the situation. So there's a nice line of fire, open canopy. This is what we like to see. It's pretty healthy for us there. And that's really fun to fight fire. It's probably, I don't know if it's the Gila, I would guess the Gila, because that's what the Gila is. A good portion of it. So this is a helispot. We're up here eating dinner. They fly in buckets for us, usually with the helicopter. If we're in the Gila, sometimes I'll pack them in on mules. But I think in this situation, we're getting the helicopter to fly them in. And we eat dinner there, and then sleep in the same general area. And that's in cases when we're way out too remote, we don't have any access to roads, we can't just jump in the trucks and drive back to it.
This was a famous fire, well, that one where we're eating, it was, somehow we walked in like 7 miles and then walked out 3. On that fire, that was the, I believe the railroad fire on the Gila National Forest.
So here's another example of one of our bike camps. So same deal here, we're getting support logistically from outside, and then we're set up there with our rain flies, we call them hooches, and basically that's your tent. So each one of those is somebody sleeping. There's our old crew carriers. Just kind of show how far it's come in the last 10 years. Example of an escape fire. That was a burnout that we were trying to do kind of last minute. We just showed up, hiked in, there was a plan to burn a little piece. Conditions weren't right, the work wasn't right. We gave it a try and did not succeed.
I know what a burnout is, but some of you might not know what a burnout is. You don't know.
Does anybody need clarification? A burnout is like, say there's a big piece of, I'll just draw something. We have the fire's edge, say like this, and then there's a fire line of some sort of control feature. We will pick a spot to start cleaning up all this green, burnable fuel. So whichever way we go, but we'll burn down and it'll fill in the gaps
So the fire doesn't hit it so intense already, so it's already nice.
There's less fuels.
Right, we're consuming the fuels under our terms, basically, and instead of letting the fire come to our land, we're taking a fire to the fire. Fighting fire with fire, if you ever hear that expression. So, that was an attempted burnout. That didn't go so well. So this picture is hard to see, but there's a fire line going up. You can kind of see the line of the trees, and a hose light coming down. And we're doing a burn operation and trying to keep the fire from going up the trees and torching them out, and throwing spots across our land. We don't always have that luxury to have the water, but that's how we do it. Picture of the air tanker dropping retardant. This is an example. I think he's dropped it on the wrong side of the line. It's kind of like so close to, everybody was thinking he's gonna drop on the other side, went further up, and he dropped inside the black, inside the burn. I believe that's the Pacheco fire. Not too sure.
Actually, that's the Chippy Creek in Montana.
So when we see a column like that, we know we have work for a couple more weeks. This is a picture of tuckered out hot shots. Probably dug line all day into the night, and then we just find somewhere to sleep. And if you have food, you eat. If not, just go to sleep and see what the morning brings. There's a dozer line.
That's a successful burnout.
Yeah. That's an example of a safety zone / parking lot. They push them with dozers. You can see the dozers in the background there. Vertol jumping retardant. Another example of urban interface. You can see the structures in there. And it's hard to keep fire out of the structures.
Actually, on that picture of the burnout there, that night, we actually burned around a small community that had previously been, like, I don't know, a decade before, they had burned around it as well. Kind of same scenario, burned in California. And we actually stayed down in there and slept through the smoke and everything, you know, until the next morning, until it was safe for us to leave on that. So we actually just kind of put a big ring fire around this little small community there, and kind of let the fire go off into its own thing. And like I said, hunkered down in there and sucked smoke all night.
Where did you say that was?
Which one? That was the Mesa.
No, this one right here.
I believe that's Florida. That's down Big Cypress, I believe.
An example of some extreme fire behavior at night. It's kind of weird to see green grass like that and a big column coming up. That's Florida as well. It's one of our legendary workers. So that's a drip torch. She's burning out on the edge of the line there. And that's an example of a burnout.
What are you using, what's the fuel?
It's a diesel and gas mixed together. That's Idaho.
That's the Cascade.
Rich can comment on that one more than me. I wasn't there at that particular moment.
We were just scouting and fire. It was another urban interface thing. Pretty logical time, pretty extreme fire behavior. We were just doing, Levi was in the back of the truck screaming at me, "Hey, move." I was talking on the radio and paying attention as well as I should. happened, everything was good, we had a way to go, that's the thing, you always gotta anticipate what might happen and where to head, so, anyway.
California, you just.
Question.
A question,
Question.
so you do get pushed into fighting them at night sometimes.
We do night operations.
Is it effective, and what do you think the future of fighting fire?
It's very effective at night, actually, because temperatures are up, humidities are down, humidities are up, temperatures are down. It's just, there's a lot of hazards, it's hard to see, it's a give and take there. If there's a snag patch or something like that, you don't wanna be engaging in the fire. But it's very effective to fight fire at night, and you get a lot of stuff done at night. More moderate fire behavior, so it's good to do burn operations at night, actually. Once you have the line in place, and everything's set, all your hazards are mitigated, and then you can go through and burn it at night, and you don't have the intensity that you would in the day. But on the other hand, a lot of teams don't like to burn it at night because they don't have air support to help you, so it just depends on the situation. But I think it's very effective.
Interesting.
Night comes
We're
pretty,
We're hearing more about it, after our fire here, there was people that, advocated more fighting at night. And I just wondered what you thought of it and what direction we're going as far as Forest Service operations. Are we gonna fight them more at night, or is it we're gonna let the command decide?
It really depends on the team, actually, and the resources available. If they have enough people to cover day shift and have a night shift, then they'll do it. But if they only have enough people for day shift's sake, then they probably won't have a night shift, or they'll just have a skeleton.
we're usually working a 16-hour shift, so, nighttime comes pretty quick.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's night. I don't know.
Take 2 or 3 shifts, I can see that.
A lot of the things that go on, like with doing like night shifts and stuff like that, especially fighting fire in the urban interface, is that you get a lot of those hidden hazard propane tanks and stuff like that you have a hard enough time looking at, or finding during the day, much less at night. So, that's where a lot of that pre-scouting, like Bo and Levi and, Rich and them, will be sleeping, and actually they have a pretty hard job because they have to go make sense for 20 guys to go in and do it safely. So, they have to go in and do all the scouting and say, this is what we need to do, and then, especially if we're doing night operations, they have to be up a little bit earlier to go and take a look at it. Actually, we got some standards, and one of them's, it's the 18 watch-out situations, and one of them is, not seeing country in daylight. So they have to go do this, so we can work all night and try to get as much eyes on it as they can, so that way when we're at night, they kinda got an idea of where something may be. And the squad bosses actually played a more role in it too.
So this is an example of a parade in California. You can see it's pretty steep. It's actually a very small fire. It's like 5 acres or something like that. Here's little Jeremy. We're in mop-up phase here. He's rolling up some pencil hose that we call it, and like I say, water is a luxury to us. We don't always have it, but if we do have it, we utilize it to the fullest. This is the back of our crew carrier. There's 8 people in the back, 2 guys in the front. Up above where the netting is, it's where our 10 days go. And then next to each seat, there's a little compartment that people can put personal stuff in, it's usually movies and iPads or some sort of technical something. So you can watch movies or read books or whatever, but all that goes in your little bin. Air conditioning unit right there above the window in the front. And that's home for 6 months basically. So that's home. And a little flare up. It's a dozer line. The dozer will go through and light light feels like that, they can put in a lot more line than a hot shot crew can. So if we have the capability or the machinery to do it, we for sure encourage them to push as much line as they can get in. But we still have to go in behind them, make sure they didn't miss anything or something didn't get pushed into the green side that's still hot. So we still have to go in and make sure it's still secure. So securing the edge.
Well, one thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt, one thing, we haven't mentioned is as far as, you've seen the helicopters, the sky cranes and stuff like that, when, a crew or they'll have a designator, they'll have somebody to communicate with, as well as like with the dozer line, they'll have somebody, a car crew or another crew as the dozer boss, directing them to see which way they're gonna take.
So yeah, we'll designate somebody, usually from the crew, to work with those aerial resources or the dozers or other resources on the fire. Even if there's a single resource working with those resources, we'll usually put one of our guys around in that area just to make sure that they're getting the messages and making sure that they're on our page. Or we're on their page, so we have a clear communication. So it looks like some sage burning. I think this is in Idaho. A little different fuel type there. Some more dozer line. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's guys asleep in the shade underneath the truck.
The only shade we have out there.
And you can see how much shade is out there. So, I don't know if we worked all night and we're just racked out, or if they just have us holding some ground and getting some chill out. This is us loading up all our stuff. We camped out right there behind our trucks that night. And we're just getting ready to go into the next shift. Another example of some burn operations. And I believe this was a night operation too, firing operation that we were doing. So generally, that's the kind of terrain that we're in. Steep and nasty. So there's a picture of our Ranger. We love to have the Ranger there, and especially if we can use it. Sometimes we drag it around everywhere and we can't ever use it. There's no roads or whatever, but if we can use it, we definitely get off the trailer and put it to work. It saves us so much work. It's unbelievable. There's a picture of our weight room, our workout facilities. And we probably have the nicest weight room of all hot shot crews. I haven't seen a nicer facility than ours. Still doing burn operations. We're using the Ranger to shuttle fuel, fill up torches. Oh, here's a little. Close encounter. That's a seaplane. They fly really fast and really low. That guy got really close to the crew. I was kind of surprised. He's pre-treating the green side of the Trigo fire. This actually is a fire that we're on this season. Oh yeah, Diego fire. Sorry. But this was a spot. Levi and I were probably 200-300 yards from this spot, which it crossed that road there on the wrong side, which is a spot fire. And it was about 5 by 5, and we saw it. We jumped in the truck, headed over there, and it was already making that kind of run by the time we got there. You see me, I'm in the corner